for party membership during their undergraduate years. But then also, very notably, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're true believers, because other research suggests that they're more likely motivated by career advancement, political gain, and social status than ideology. With a number of people saying it's kind of like how it's simply pragmatic to get your membership card for the Communist Party and the Soviet Union. With, for example, John Burns, an emeritus professor at the University of Hong Kong, explaining that the best students in China's elite universities are approached by the party and asked to join, and then saying to NBC it's probably a wise decision on their part, as the CCP is the network of all networks to get ahead in China. The argument being it's not obvious that CCP membership is as nefarious as it might seem, and either way, you have Burns saying that the US government has no independent way of verifying a Chinese student's membership, unless, the students themselves or people who know them reveal it. But also, importantly, the White House's announcement, it goes beyond just revoking visas, with it adding, we will also revise visa criteria to enhance scrutiny of all future visa applications from the People's Republic of China and Hong Kong. And so, all of this, it's a drastic change from previous policy, and you have many saying it does not bode well for US-China relations. Right? Because historically, even the children of most top CCP officials could attend American universities. I mean, even Xi Jinping's daughter graduated from Harvard in 2014 under a pseudonym, although administrators knew who she really was. And all of that is, on the flip side, there were only about 800 Americans studying in China, which on the note of China, as far as their reaction, you had the Chinese Foreign Ministry expressing disappointment at this morning's news, with a spokesperson saying, this politically discriminatory move exposes the hypocrisy of America's long proclaimed values of freedom and openness and will only further damage the United States' international image and credibility. And, you have many Americans agreeing there with, for example, Gary Locke, a U.S. ambassador to China during the Obama administration, telling the New York Times, shutting the door on Chinese students doesn't just betray our values, it weakens our leadership in science, technology, and innovation. And that seeming to be because American research institutions have long attracted some of the most talented students from other countries, and they've benefited from their expertise. Also, like we talked about yesterday, many universities get a large part of their annual revenue from international students who pay full tuition. But that said, for Trump, politically speaking, it's kind of a perfect move. But he combines his trade war with China, his crackdown on immigrants, and his attack on universities in a single headlining declaration. And it fits. It's a continuation of what his administration's been doing over the past few months, where they've already revoked thousands of student visas, they've detained and deported people seemingly for their political expression. And, just yesterday, the State Department halted scheduled interviews with foreign students applying for student and exchange visas. And even that was after last week you had Homeland Security announcing it was revoking Harvard's certification to enroll foreign students, with them notably justifying that move in part by claiming without evidence that the university coordinated with the Chinese Communist Party, though also a federal judge temporarily blocked that, and it's still being fought out in court. But for now, we'll have to wait to see who all this hits and how things move forward. But then, next up, you've got this big influencer in the news right now because she's suing to keep the public from accessing graphic details about her toddler's drowning. And if you're unfamiliar, this is a tragic story, and the influencer here is Emily Kaiser. She has 4 million followers on TikTok, 1.7 million on Instagram, and she and her husband Brady have 2 sons, Trig, who's 3, and Theodore, who was just born in March. And she often posted about their life together, but on May 12th, her son Trig was hospitalized over an accidental drowning incident, and the Chandler Police Department in Arizona, they later confirmed that he died as a result of the drowning on May 18th, with local police saying an investigation into the incident is ongoing and not releasing further details out of respect for the family's privacy. And I will say, because the word investigation, it sometimes rings alarm bells, I want to note that Arizona Central reported that drownings are always investigated to rule out any cases of abuse or extreme neglect, and it would be incredibly rare for charges to be filed in a case like this. Because at the end of the day, you have many saying this looks like just a horrible, accidental, worst-case scenario for any parent enduring a loss, including Emily. But also, that hasn't stopped people online from endlessly speculating about it all, since there were a ton of headlines about the loss of her son. Even though she's turned off her comments on both Instagram and TikTok, you have people posting tons of videos of their own discussing it. Right? Some kind of blaming Emily for not having a fence around the pool, others questioning some of her posts or parenting, and some talking about how they want updates on the situation. In fact, when the news about a local toddler drowning was first reported, the child wasn't even identified, but you still had people connecting the dots on their own and making Emily a trending topic after they traced a photo in a local news story to Emily's house before anyone's name was formally revealed. And then with that, according to a lawsuit that Emily just filed, some have also been trying to access records regarding her son's death and the investigation around it, with Emily filing that suit to keep records regarding her son's death private, and the complaint saying, Emily and her family desperately want to grieve in private, but sadly, the public will not let them. Trig's death has become a media frenzy. Appallingly, 100 plus public record requests have been filed with both the City of Chandler and Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office. The records requested presumably reveal graphic, distressing, and intimate details of Trig's death, with Emily saying she's unaware of who's making these 100 plus requests, and the suit claiming that many of them are seeking the information for commercial purposes. Now with that, some of the requests, they could very well be from news media and reporters, right? I mean, you have outlets like USA Today noting that it had filed a request to access the police report for journalistic reasons. But with that, the state of Arizona does not consider news gathering to be a commercial purpose when it comes to record requests. Also, according to the suit, the files that people are trying to access potentially include a police report, graphic security camera camera footage, body camera footage, and 911 recording, and more. And this is Emily claims that neither she and her lawyer have even seen the documents, and Emily doesn't ever intend to. The suit then calling the high number of public access requests an invasion of privacy and adding, Emily is going through a parent's worst nightmare right now. Emily is trying her best to be there for her surviving son, 2-month-old Theodore, but every day is a battle. To allow disclosure in these circumstances would be to turn Arizona's public records law into a weapon of emotional harm rather than a tool of governmental transparency. Arizona's public records law is not intended to serve public curiosity. Right? And so, Emily, she's trying to block the public from obtaining any records related to her son's death, or for the court to at least conduct a full review of all records until they can decide if any portions can be lawfully disclosed. And then with that, you're seeing a lot of people online slamming others for crossing a line and trying to find out more information on what happened. Right? Especially since Emily is dealing with a 2 months postpartum, just to make it all that much more painful.
I think we all need to take a look and take an inventory of some of these parasocial relationships that we have, and it happens often with celebrities where we feel entitled to people's life. We want to harass and ask invasive questions. We want updates repeatedly. And we have no respect for their freaking privacy. Come on.
With all that, depending on where you're going online, there's a lot of different thoughts, a lot of different opinions. But for now, we'll have to wait to see what happens with this lawsuit and also the court of public opinion. But then, next up, shifting gears from that, in huge business and social media news, Hailey Bieber just sold her skincare and beauty brand Rhode for $1 billion deal. And it's making tons of headlines right now for a combination of business and celebrity gossip reasons. Because specifically, yesterday you had e.l.f. Beauty acquiring Rhode with a deal comprising of $800 million in cash and stock and an additional potential earning of $200 million based on future growth over 3 years. Right now, e.l.f. it's known for being a very budget-friendly brand with dupes of high-end products, and it's sold at major retailers like CVS, Target, Walmart, and more. And then Rhode, it was founded by Hailey just a few years ago in 2022 with a focus on intentional skincare and beauty. And its products, they're only available online, though. In another major recent deal, Sephora announced that the brand would be coming to its stores later this year. So it's already been a huge year for Rhode, and under this new acquisition from e.l.f., Hailey will continue on as the founder and serve as the chief creative officer and head of innovation, and now acting as a strategic advisor to the combined companies. With Hailey saying, "We can't wait to bring Rhode to more faces, places, and spaces. From day one, my vision for Rhode has been to make essential skincare and hybrid makeup you can use every day." Just 3 years into this journey, our partnership with e.l.f. Beauty marks an incredible opportunity to elevate and accelerate our ability to reach more of our community. Right? And this business deal, it stands to be huge for both parties. With, for example, the Wall Street Journal noting that for e.l.f., it'll help diversify its supply chain because currently most of its products are made in China and subject to major tariffs, and Rhode suppliers are based in Europe, the US, and other parts of Asia. And then for Rhode, this really cements Hailey Bieber's status as a beauty mogul following the likes of Rihanna, Kylie Jenner, Selena Gomez, and more. But then this news has also popped up as there have been a number of headlines suggesting that there are issues with her relationship with Justin Bieber. Right in there, I'll say without getting too much into the nitty-gritty detail of gossip, Justin faced a ton of backlash when she was on the cover of Vogue because he wrote that he previously told her she would never accomplish that, and people just thought that it was kind of a shady thing to share with the public. With that, then prompting people to resurface old clips where it looks like Justin's being rude to or ignoring Hailey. This then also coming as some of Justin's public behavior and odd social media posts have prompted concern and criticism. You have some rumors about him using drugs. There's then also, separate but connected to that, been a number of reports suggesting he's in some financial trouble and had to sell off his music catalog because he had gone broke. With, for example, the Hollywood Reporter recently saying he lost millions from canceling a tour and still owes his former manager, Scooter Braun, money. But then all of that turning into a conversation connected to Hailey, where you have some saying, "Oh, what does this big payday with Rhode mean?" Right? All of a sudden, you've got people speculating that she's selling her company to pay off Justin's debts. Others hoping it means that she's just getting her ducks in a row for a divorce. But then outside all of that noise, you have a number of people just looking at this as a major business accomplishment. Writing things like, "Everyone in her business, but she really be in her business. For real, love that for her." As well as $1 billion company in 3 years while being harassed by the entire internet and going through a pregnancy and postpartum. Hailey Bieber, you're that girl. But all in all, I think the main point of this story is I'm a fucking idiot. Beautiful Bastard should never have been a clothing company. It should have been a beauty brand. It was right there in the fucking name the whole time. And then I've got more important news for you in just 1 minute. But first, why does shaving feel like your face is under attack? Like your razor is actively trying to ruin your morning. Because if your face ends up looking like it lost a fight after every shave, the problem isn't your skin, it's your razor. If every shave, it leaves you with bumps, redness, or regrets, I've got a better option. Henson Shave It. It's the razor I used even before they were sponsoring our show. And this thing isn't gimmicky. It's engineered in the same aerospace facility that made parts for the damn Mars rover. Because most razors, the blade flexes and scrapes. These blades, they barely stick out. We're talking 1/1000th of an inch. So it doesn't even wiggle, tug, or carve you up. Or to translate it means no more redness, bumps, or irritation, just buttery, smooth skin that actually feels healthier. And the savings? They're next level. I mean, once you own the razor, replacement blades are just $3 to $5 a year. Compare that to plastic cartridges that cost more and trash the planet. 2 billion razors end up in landfills every year. So, here's the move. Go to hensonshaving.com/DeFranco and use code DeFranco and add the